Hi guys, welcome back.
Hello. Oh, nose itches.
Hare is going to talk again. He's got some good stuff.
I got a lot of
this
stuff
week.
today.
You do.
Well, it's stuff that kind of we talked before, but wanted to share just because it's such a big lesson that I learned. So going back a couple of months, we were kind of talking about retirement and how to, protect ourselves and all of that. I mean, that's not really important. It's the story itself is more important, but I wanted to invest some of my money in some precious metals. And when I had done that, I had heard from, I guess, a radio program or something I was listening to that talked about the specific company. And I thought, oh, okay, let's look into that. Really didn't do any research on it, but kind of trusted this radio station's opinion that, because he was doing it as an advertisement, right? Was trusting that this person knew what they were talking about. It's so funny too, because my husband kept asking, who did we hear about this from? And I was like, a radio station? Not really anybody reputable. But when you go on their website, it seems great and all. And, it seemed to flow really well in the beginning. Like we printed the thing out that talked about, hedging against whatever. And I called that next day and, they said, oh yes, you can roll over your whatever my retirement was into this Roth. Or not Roth, the silver IRA. And so I was like, oh, cool. Okay, this seems pretty easy. Got the ball rolling with that, talked to the other company that had the retirement. And literally the first couple things we did, the first couple steps we did was very simple, very easy. However, in the meantime, during that time, we had heard if you don't have the precious metals in your hand, you don't really own them.
Right.
And so I just thought, I get it. We're not going to worry about that too much. This is still my retirement that I wasn't even going to touch for a long time. It's no big deal. I'm not going to worry about that. So then got the paperwork rolling, got everything rolled over. And then once it was in their system, there was some signs that kept coming up that was like, my husband had a question about whatever. So he emailed, didn't hear back. I called, didn't hear back. I emailed, didn't hear back. And they made it seem so simple. If you call, we'll get back to you. If you email, so it's supposed to be very simple flowing. Yeah. Okay.
Good communication. All of that stuff.
And they prided themselves, it said on their website, their 5-star reviews. Well, I wasn't experiencing 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
or a 5-star service. I was like, this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So it was a little frustrating and thinking like, it's not, I'm not going to worry about it. It wasn't something I was going to touch for a long time. So then hearing that, again, just really important to have it in your hands. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take a big hit financially to take it out because I'm not supposed to touch it anyway. So then I thought, well, let me just call back again and see if I, get in communication. Didn't happen. So now it's been like several weeks and no communication. And every time I call, it's like I miss the other person's phone call, or whatever. And so just really kind of getting a little frustrated because I'm like, okay, this isn't working very well.
Yeah. Like as soon as you had changed your mind, almost like as soon as you had started to be like, wait, I might want to make a different choice.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't.
I couldn't. It was really weird.
Touch with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, okay, what is this really about? So then I kind of sat with it for a while. And then I was starting to get angry. And then I was like, okay, I have money in here and you guys are not communicating. This is not good service. And, it should be good service, right? Here's that should word.
Yeah. My
expectations are not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So then as I'm walking one day, I literally got this hit over the head, and actually I take that back. It was before, because I finally had gotten in contact with the guy. He apologized because what I had done is I wrote a review because they had sent me something and it said, we pride ourselves, blah, 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 write a review. So I wrote the review. I tried to be very diplomatic because I know like things happen. People get busy, this and that. But it just seemed over and over again, we were just not having this communication. So I was like, this is just really strange. And so I kind of said that. It was just bad communication. Well, he then calls almost right away, like the next day. He's like, I got your review, and he said, oh, how can I make it right? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was that bad, this and that. And I said, it's not a big deal. Thank you for calling. And he's like, how can I make this right? And I said, I really think I just need to close out the account. So I had this conversation with him. He said, you know what? Why don't you take some time, think about it, talk with your husband, and then call me back. And it was so interesting because this is really about my intuition. I kind of had already known intuitively that I should not have put it in their system.
Like when your husband asked you, where do we hear this? And he kept asking you. That was your opportunity to be like, wait, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like stop. How many times do we do that?
Oh my
gosh. Someone like lets you change your mind?
Yep.
By asking you a question or prompting you.
Yep.
And you keep plowing.
And instead of being like annoyed that he was questioning me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, I heard it from a radio station.
Yeah.
Like, why are you questioning me?
This is fine.
It's fine.
We don't need to worry about this.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was so funny that you said that because it's like I was given opportunity after opportunity. He asked several times, where do we get this from? Who is this? Who are these people? And I wanted to stick with my guns and be like, I heard it from this person. It's fine.
Yeah.
And all along, it was that intuitive voice that I wasn't listening to.
Exactly.
So,
and I mean, I think sometimes the questions, it's not necessarily like when you butt up against those questions, they're just opportunities to pause for you to hear your intuition.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like to let go of
Absolutely.
the plan and see, is there an intuition here? Because if you just pause and be like, well, I don't know, should we research a little bit more?
And
what would have happened?
Exactly. And I think you're totally right. I think it was just the knee jerk, don't question me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. It's kind of like what your story was before when you talked about the closet. It's just, this is my decision. This is what I want. This is my plan.
Yeah.
You're questioning me. And that's
so
what
you're questioning me.
Exactly.
You don't value me. You
right.
don't think all of these assumptions that we have
ridiculous
about
things.
Right.
Yeah. But how wonderful our spouses are. Again, our wonderful teachers are just giving us that opportunity to question ourselves and ask, really, what is that answer?
Yeah.
Right? What is that intuitive answer that we know? So, long story short, after the phone call with him, I got this immediate like, oh my gosh, this happened the most beautiful way because I think, in the moment I was blaming him, the company, etc. But all along it was just another indication, another mirror back to myself is that I wasn't listening to my intuition, that all along I knew I shouldn't have put it in there. And it was like every single time I wasn't hearing any communication back from the phone call, the emails, my husband questioning, it was just like all along I knew I shouldn't have put it in there. And I had to have several different lessons within that to come back to myself and be like, you should have listened the first time.
Yeah.
Tried to tell you.
Crazy.
But now you know. And so it's just such a beautiful lesson. I don't even know how to explain it.
No, I mean, think it's
just
really interesting because I feel like that's how God works. That's how our spirit works.
Yes.
It's always kind of whispering and allowing you to hear it in the most graceful, easiest way, right?
Yes.
Like how nice would it have been to listen, like, I just shared my story last week.
Yeah.
How nice would it have been to listen the first time and been like, okay, maybe we should pause on this.
Yeah.
When someone questions you, just say, okay, let me hit pause.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Yep.
I'm going to pause and see if there's something else I need to hear. But we don't. We're so attached.
So attached. I was so attached to this. I heard this person. This is what he was advertising, so it has to be legit.
Yeah.
And not that they're saying that the company wasn't. I'm sure they're very legit. It was just, I knew, and God knew all along, I didn't want my money in there or
it just wasn't the place.
Whatever. It wasn't the place. It was just, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like he did everything right. I mean, honestly, the guy did everything right by not answering me back, because it literally validated that I didn't listen to my intuition and I just wanted it out.
Yeah.
So everything he did, whether you look at it as bad, it actually was the most beautiful thing, because it made me realize.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you were like, oh, the money's fine, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You would not have been having the reaction that you were having when you could not connect with him.
Right.
Right? So that is our intuition. And it's just so hard to notice it. It's so hard to realize that you're in that situation. But again, it's the emotion around it.
Yes.
You know.
Well, we put a lot of emotion around money too. Well, and I do. I mean, our attachment to money is another thing we have to work through.
Right.
So I think that was also part of it too.
A lot of attachments in that.
Yes.
That kind of had to be lifted off in order to
be able to really see the beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So, and it was funny too, because as I'm talking to the guy, when he says, you know, well, don't take it out quite yet. Why don't you talk to your husband? I immediately had this negative. Not negative, but I don't know how to explain it. It was almost like an immediate, like, no.
Yeah.
You know? And before I'd have been like, my old people pleasing self is, okay, I'll wait and see. I'll talk to my husband. And then I don't want to go back and tell him no, the guy no. But all along it was, bless you. But all along it was, I intuitively knew right in that moment when he said, you can keep it in there. And it was just like, I knew all along I didn't want to.
And I mean, that's so crazy, because then you got another question.
Yes.
You got another opportunity. And this time
I got it.
You could say it.
And I could say it. So it was just a beautiful lesson where we look at something and think it's bad, in the sense of like, they didn't call me back, they're a bad company, don't do this, don't do that. And then it's just like, all along it was like, it absolutely happened the perfect way. It couldn't have happened any better.
Yeah.
For me to see that my intuition was right all along.
So such a great message on like, wherever you find yourself, you're exactly where you should be. Like, don't judge whatever's happening right now in your life as like it shouldn't be.
Right.
It's exactly
where we need to be.
It's exactly as it should be right now.
Yeah.
Whatever conflict you're having with your husband, it's exactly as it should be.
What needs to happen.
Whatever what's happening at the school or with the business, it's exactly as it should be. But you will only see what you're supposed to do with it when you bring it back here.
Exactly.
Stop blaming.
Yeah.
It's not the school. It's not your husband.
Yeah.
It's not the company.
No. It was just their way, literally, of the mirror showing it back to you to be like, just look at this. Listen to it. Listen to that whisper.
Listen.
And God's going to keep throwing this.
Yeah, we've asked you in 100 different ways.
Yep.
And
he's like, when are you going to listen? Exactly. Oh, maybe she'll listen this time. And it's like, and now what I think is so exciting is I get to see those so much quicker now.
Yeah.
And then when you do, it is the most unbelievable feeling.
Yeah.
You can't describe it. It's just like,
gosh.
Yeah, I got it. Beautiful. Oh, wow, great. You know, and then that just gives you so much power, so much more power here.
Yeah.
And then in knowing your truth, your intuition, and really trusting that.
Well,
so
and you
amazing.
can stop the suffering. I mean, like when
That's
your
probably
husband asked you, it was suffering. When you weren't getting the connection with the company, you were in suffering, really.
Because I was really at war with what was happening.
Right.
And I didn't, we were talking earlier about with war with reality. I was just like, I was really fighting with what was really in front of me.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is, this is in front of me. I'm not able to communicate with him, but I'm arguing about that. But this is what it is.
Yeah.
So what do I do about that? I need to come back in here and be like, okay, what is it I'm supposed to learning here? What is my intuition telling me?
Yeah. What do I need to do?
And then until I saw that, I was suffering.
Yeah.
It was that conflict.
Yeah.
That war. Mm-hmm. So
I think sometimes we're put on pause so that we can come back here. Mm-hmm. It's almost like God's like, your answer wasn't right.
Yeah, right. Like, you're trying to answer again?
Yeah.
Nice try.
Exactly. Come back in here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this again.
Right. Yeah, visit it again and really see. And then when you do, it's like liberating yourself.
And then you know the process. Then you start to recognize the process over, and you're like, oh,
you just have to become more aware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it doesn't go away.
No. No.
So I was there.
Luckily, it shortens.
Yeah.
The time shortens, at least for me.
Yeah.
Now it's a shorter time. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't like that feeling. I mean, this time it actually took me several weeks or maybe even a month. Whereas like now when things come up, I can usually within about an hour.
That's good.
I can usually see it. So, but you have
the
to be
closet
aware.
situation just happened. That took 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm the tortoise.
Shorter than.
Yeah. So we can't expect.
Well, I'm saying that now. I'm not
fast.
saying like everything is, but
oh my goodness,
she's getting better. She's coming along.
I know. You're pulling me along. All right,
Anyways,
guys. Good luck.
Have
Thanks
fun.
for being here.
Bye-bye.